Some of these dogs look so much like wolves, experts have actually mistaken them for wild predators. Imagine standing face to face with an animal in your home, and for a split second, you're not sure if it's a dog or something far more dangerous. Because today, you're about to discover dogs that look so much like wolves that even scientists have been fooled. But here's the twist. Some of these breeds weren't just inspired by wolves, they were actually created by crossing wolves with domestic dogs. And what you're about to see might completely change how you look at dogs forever. Stay until the end, because the dog at number 1 is so wolf-like, it's almost impossible to tell the difference. But before we begin, we are Meme Dogs TV. Subscribe, and let's begin. Number 10, Siberian Husky. At first glance, the Siberian Husky looks like a creature straight out of the frozen wilderness. With its piercing blue eyes, thick fur, and sharp facial structure, it's easy to see why many people confuse it with a wolf. But here's where things get interesting. The Siberian Husky was originally bred by the Chukchi people of Siberia, not as a pet, but as a working dog. These dogs were trained to pull sleds across frozen lands for miles in extreme temperatures that could kill most animals. But what makes them truly wolf-like? Their behavior. Huskies are known for their independence, their howling instead of barking, and their pack mentality. But unlike wolves, they are incredibly social with humans. Still, don't be fooled by their friendly nature, because deep inside, they carry the spirit of the wild. And that's just number 10. But what if I told you there's a dog on this list that looks even more like a wolf and has something even more surprising in its DNA? Number 9, the Alaskan Malamute. Now imagine a dog built for strength, power, and survival. That's exactly what you get with the Alaskan Malamute. At first glance, it can easily be mistaken for a wolf with its muscular build, thick coat, and powerful stance. But here's the shocking part. Malamutes are one of the oldest Arctic sled dog breeds, bred by the Malamute Inuit people. These dogs weren't just workers, they were lifelines. They pulled heavy loads across ice, helped hunt, and survived in brutal conditions. But here's where it gets intense. Unlike most dogs, Malamutes have a dominant personality. They are strong-willed, independent, and require a confident owner. Sound familiar? Because that's exactly how wolves behave in the wild. But don't worry, the next dog on this list takes wolf-like to a whole new level, because this one wasn't just bred, it was part wolf itself. Number 8, Czechoslovakian Wolfdog. Now things are starting to get serious. The Czechoslovakian Wolfdog is not your average dog. This breed was created through a scientific experiment in the 1950s by crossing German Shepherds with Carpathian wolves. Yes, you heard that right. A real wolf mixed with a dog. The goal? To combine the intelligence and trainability of dogs with the strength and endurance of wolves. But here's the catch. The result was something unpredictable. These dogs inherited a strong prey drive, high intelligence, and a deep connection to their wolf ancestry. And visually, they look almost identical to wolves. Same body shape, same facial structure, same intense gaze. But behaviorally, they can be extremely challenging. They are not beginner-friendly dogs. They require experienced handlers, constant training, and strong leadership. Because deep down, they are still partly wild. And this is where things start getting even more intense. Because coming up next is a dog breed that was designed to look like a wolf, but might be even more dangerous than you think. But what if a dog was created not just to look like a wolf, but to behave like one too? Stay with me, because the next breed is one of the closest living links between dogs and wolves, and it's unlike anything you've seen so far. You've already seen dogs that look like wolves, and even one that was literally bred from wolves. But now, we're entering a different level, because the next dogs don't just resemble wolves, they blur the line between domestication and the wild. And what you're about to see might make you question everything you thought you knew about dogs. Number 7. Saarloos Wolfdog. Meet the Saarloos Wolfdog, a dog that looks so wild it almost feels untamed. This breed was created by a Dutch breeder named Leendert Saarloos, who crossed a German Shepherd with a Eurasian wolf. But unlike many other breeds, this one wasn't created for work or strength. It was created to reintroduce natural instincts back into dogs. And the result? A dog with an incredibly wolf-like appearance. Lean body, long legs, narrow face, and deep, alert eyes. But here's where things get interesting. These dogs are extremely reserved around strangers. They don't trust easily. They observe, they analyze, and only then do they act. This isn't a dog that rushes into your arms. This is a dog that watches you first. And that behavior is pure wolf instinct. But what's even more surprising is that despite their wild appearance, they can form deep bonds with their owners. However, they are not for everyone, because owning a Saarloos Wolfdog means understanding something important. You are not just raising a dog, you are managing a creature with wild DNA still inside it. Number 6. Tamascan Dog. Now imagine a dog that was specifically bred to look like a wolf, without actually having any wolf DNA. That's exactly what you get with the Tamascan dog. At first glance, you would swear this dog came straight from the wild. Its thick coat, strong build, and piercing eyes all scream wolf. But here's the twist. The Tamascan was carefully bred using multiple northern breeds, like Siberian Huskies and Alaskan Malamutes, to simulate the appearance of a wolf, but without the aggression. Or at least, that's the idea. Because here's what makes the Tamascan so fascinating. It behaves like a family dog, but looks like a predator. Friendly, trainable, and social, yet still carrying that unmistakable wild look. And that creates a powerful illusion. Because when you see one, your brain tells you one thing, but your instincts tell you something completely different. And that's exactly what makes this dog so unique. It walks the line between safe and wild. But now we're getting closer to the top, and the next dog might just be the most mysterious one on this list. Number 5. Northern Inuit Dog. This is where things start to feel unreal. The Northern Inuit Dog is famous for one major reason. It was bred to look like a wolf for movies and television. Yes, this is the dog that helped portray wolves on screen. But don't let that fool you, because this breed is incredibly realistic in appearance. Lean body, sharp muzzle, and that intense wolf-like stare, it can easily trick anyone into thinking it's a wild animal. And here's something surprising. This breed is not one single pure lineage. It was created by crossing several northern breeds to achieve one goal, to look like a wolf while still being trainable as a dog. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Despite its wild appearance, the Northern Inuit dog is known for being friendly, loyal, intelligent, and highly social. It thrives in family environments and often bonds deeply with humans. But don't get too comfortable, because even though this dog is gentle, its appearance alone can trigger fear or admiration. And that raises a question. Why are we so fascinated by dogs that look like wolves? Maybe it's because deep down, we still feel that connection to something ancient, something wild, something we once lived alongside. But the next dog on this list takes everything you've seen so far and pushes it even further. Because this isn't just a wolf-like dog. This is one of the closest living representations of a wolf-dog hybrid in existence. And what you're about to see might be the most controversial breed of all. You've seen dogs that look like wolves, dogs that were carefully bred to mimic them, and even dogs that carry actual wolf ancestry. But now, we're entering the top tier, the dogs that don't just resemble wolves, they feel like wolves. Their presence, their behavior, their energy, everything about them blurs the line between domestication and the wild. And starting with number 4, things are about to get even more intense. Number 4, the Utonagan, a dog that was bred with one goal in mind, to look like a wolf without the aggression. And when you first see one, you might think you're looking at a wild predator. Thick fur, powerful stance, sharp facial features. It's almost too perfect. But here's where things get interesting. The Utonagan is actually a mix of several breeds, including Huskies, Malamutes, and German Shepherds. The goal was to create a dog that looked like a wolf, but behaved like a family companion. And for the most part, they succeeded. Utonagans are known for being friendly, calm, intelligent, and highly social. But here's the twist. Their wolf-like appearance still affects how people react to them. Some people are drawn to them, while others feel an instinctive sense of fear. And that says something powerful, because appearance alone can change how we perceive an animal. But don't let their gentle personality fool you, because the closer we get to number 1, the more extreme things become. Number 3. The ultimate wolf hybrid, Wolfdog types. Now this is where things get serious. Because at number 3, we're not talking about a single breed. We're talking about a category of animals known as wolf dogs. And the wolf dog is exactly what it sounds like, a hybrid between a domestic dog and a wild wolf. But here's where it gets complicated. Not all wolf dogs are the same. Some have high wolf content, while others are mostly dog, and the behavior can vary drastically. But one thing remains consistent. These animals carry strong, wild instincts. They are intelligent, independent, and often unpredictable. They may bond with humans, but they do not behave like typical pets. Training them requires experience, patience, and a deep understanding of animal behavior. Because unlike regular dogs, wolf dogs don't always follow commands. They think, they question, they evaluate, and sometimes they choose not to obey. And that's what makes them so fascinating and so dangerous at the same time. Because when you mix the loyalty of a dog with the instincts of a wolf, you create something that sits right on the edge of control. Number 2. We're looking at the most extreme wolf-like dogs, those that carry strong genetic ties to wolves, like the Saarloos Wolfdog and the Czechoslovakian Wolfdog, but pushed even further in behavior, in instinct, and in presence. These dogs are not just similar to wolves, they operate on a completely different level. They are extremely intelligent, highly observant, emotionally sensitive, and deeply instinct-driven. They don't respond to traditional training methods easily. They require leadership, respect, and consistency. Because if you fail to guide them properly, they won't just misbehave, they will follow their instincts, and those instincts come from the wild. What makes them truly remarkable is how they challenge the boundary between dog and wolf. They live in both worlds, but belong fully to neither. And that's what makes them so powerful and so unpredictable. But everything you've seen so far leads to this moment, because the number one dog is not just wolf-like, it's not just a hybrid, and it's not just a breed. It represents something far deeper, something that has fascinated humans for centuries, a living connection to the wild itself. You've traveled through the world of dogs that look like wolves. You've seen breeds that were carefully engineered and others that carry the raw imprint of the wild. But now we arrive at the final moment. The number one dog on this list isn't just the most wolf-like. It represents the closest bridge between domestication and the wild. And once you see it, you'll understand why so many people are both fascinated and cautious when it comes to wolf-like dogs. Number 1. The ultimate wolf-dog hybrid, the closest thing to a wolf. At number 1, we're talking about the most extreme representation of wolf-like dogs, high-content wolf dogs, and elite hybrid lines closely related to the wolf dog, but pushed to the very edge of wild ancestry. These animals are the closest thing to a true wolf that can still live alongside humans. And here's what makes them so incredible. Their behavior is deeply rooted in instinct. They don't just react, they observe, they calculate, they analyze everything around them. Unlike typical dogs, they are not motivated purely by affection or commands. Instead, they operate on a complex balance of instinct, trust, territory, and survival awareness. And because of that, they require an entirely different level of care. These are not dogs you simply own. They are animals you must understand. Because if you don't, they will follow their natural instincts, and that's where things can become unpredictable. But here's the fascinating part. Despite their wild nature, many of these animals can still form strong bonds with humans. But that bond must be earned, not given. And that's what makes them so unique. Because at their core, they are a living reminder of something ancient, something powerful, something that once roamed freely across the earth before civilization changed everything. So what does all of this mean? It means that the line between dog and wolf is not as clear as we once thought. Some dogs are playful, some are loyal, some are wild, and some still carry the echoes of their ancestors. When you look into the eyes of a wolf-like dog, you're not just seeing an animal, you're seeing history, evolution, and the untamed spirit of nature itself. From the icy lands of Siberia to the engineered hybrids of modern science, one thing is clear. The connection between dogs and wolves runs deeper than appearances. And sometimes, the difference between the two is only a matter of perspective. Now I want to hear from you. Which of these dogs surprised you the most? Which one looked the most like a real wolf? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this journey, don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more amazing content, and share this with someone who loves dogs. Because there's always more to discover, and this is just the beginning. Stay curious, stay inspired, and I'll see you in the next one.